Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. I'm back, and I'm better than ever. Well, not better than ever, not yet anyway. Definitely, thanks for listening. Thanks for participating and watching if you're watching with us live. We're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And so, this episode, we're going to be covering the latest issue of Amazing Spider-Man. Surprise! It's this one. That's right, issue 63 if you're following the regular volume numbering, or if you're like me and prefer legacy numbering, it's 864. So this issue, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about JR Jr.'s return to Marvel. We're also going to be talking about my health, because that became a subject of it was a scary time last week. We'll talk about that probably at the end of the episode. But it was definitely a different experience. This episode is going to be kind of different with that, but like I say, if you want to follow us on our various social medias, you can go to @Spideydude Radio on Twitter, @Spideydude Network on Facebook and Instagram as well. And you can always decide if you like the show, you leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app. Give us 5 stars or give us less stars. We'll read your comments, your critiques on the show on a future episode. If you want to leave us a voicemail, leave us a voicemail at 818-925-6631. It's 818-925-6631. We will play your voicemails on the show live here on the Spideydude Experience. Of course, none of this is possible without a big thanks to our Patreon subscribers, Kingpin and Scott. Thank you guys for your contributions to the site and to help continue to make this podcast as well as all of our other podcasts possible. Thank you. We simply couldn't do it without your help and support. So thanks again. That's patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Patreon.com/Spideydude Network. So, without further ado, minor programming notes. We're going to be recording another episode of Make My Mayday on Friday. Tomorrow, Thursday, when this is being released live, we're going to be doing another episode of ASM Classics being released. So tomorrow, ASM Classics. Friday could be Make My Mayday. And then next Tuesday will be also a Make My Mayday episode. So, minor programming note. Speaking of people a part of the Spideydude Radio Network, retired President Dick Cheney.
Yes, it is me, Dick Cheney, with a steel chair and a drone. Hello.
By the way, minor disclaimer, I always try to make this at the beginning of each episode. If we are making references to visual aids, we do apologize to our audio listeners, as you should watch our live streams. They're all up on our YouTube page. Just search Spideydude in the box, and you will definitely find us. We're at 80 subscribers on YouTube, so we're trying to get to 100. That's kind of a magic golden number. So, speaking of a guy that is, and you can also watch the Broken Rider Variety Hour Saturdays on Twitch, and they're also up on YouTube as well. But speaking of a guy that's been doing a pretty good job on a YouTube channel, P-Thug Paul.
There we go. You figure I'd have it figured out by now, but I have not. No, thank you. And
that's normally my shtick.
Yeah, no. And I had Neil on, and we talked about Silk. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yes. And then I harassed you in the comments last night.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah,
and everyone keeps sending me the same Marvel TLDR video about Silk, and I'm tired of it. Stop it.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched it, and I probably won't watch it.
It's not you, Paul, but everyone's been spamming it, and they're like, "Oh, Neil's one of Silk's 10 fans, so he'll like this." Yeah,
she has more than 10 fans. But no, thank you to everyone who's contributed to the show and watched and liked videos, and I really appreciate it. So, Zach has been awesome. And again, I wouldn't have been able to get on StreamYard and figure it out without this guy. He helped me out, and he's great. I love doing the show. So this is great. Thank you, Zach, and I'm ready to talk some Spidey.
Yeah, Comic Binge YouTube channel, and then search on Twitter @Herman22. So just going to go through our comments right quick. We got hello. Speaking of Venkman, glad you're feeling better, Zach. We'll talk about that. So there's some well wishes. P-Thug also looks sharp with that jacket and those mutton chops.
Looks like a New York hitman.
Oh,
right.
so Ryan had to leave. Hi Ryan. Bye Ryan.
All right.
Hi Ryan. Bye Ryan.
Love you, Ryan.
Comments. I'm gonna try to be.
No, he's married.
Yeah, he's married, so he's got to take in some kids. So
You can love someone and not want to marry them. You realize this, right? Like, I love you guys. I don't want to marry you, especially not this character named Neil.
I don't know. I'm very lovable.
You are very lovable, but so's Zach.
fuzzball.
Yeah.
He's a little fuzzball. Look, Sarah is, she's a saint. I already know. So, all right. For those that are watching, hello. To quote Venkman, we are definitely going to be talking about Amazing Spider-Man and the fun things that are going on. But there was also some news that happened while we were gone. And just to kind of give everybody kind of a reference, not saying we're not going to do episodes of Spideydude Experience when there's not issues. I just don't feel like I feel like I'd rather do them when there's new issues coming out. We can be relevant, be current. And
there's news. There's news, right?
Right. So there's news that came out right before, right before. I think it was what, Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, early
It was
on.
probably like Saturday.
Yeah, it may have been Saturday. So there was a press release that was sent out. And I'm going to share my screen, and so everybody can see it.
I have words about this.
Oh, I know. I'm ready for it. All right. John Romita Jr. returns to Marvel. Legendary artist John Romita Jr. will rejoin Marvel Comics starting this July. He's making his return to that quote. He's making a return to the House of Ideas starting this July. Romita will enter the Marvel universe once again and to draw some of Marvel's most iconic characters and titles. So, after beginning his career in Marvel decades ago, Romita's art style has continued to be one of the most recognizable and respected in the comics industry. And during his time at Marvel, he helmed distinctive runs on titles including Amazing Spider-Man, Uncanny X-Men, Iron Man, Daredevil, and many more. Romita will now bring his indelible talent to some of Marvel's most iconic series starting later this year. Then he has a pull quote. I have been very fortunate more than a few times in my life. Now I can add this latest event to that list. I have returned to Marvel, the company that I started my career in, and I couldn't be more thrilled, says Romita, with a typo.
Beautiful.
I am literally at this very moment working on my next big Marvel project, and it's a blast. I'm just
with 5 exclamation points. Wow. That's how you know it's serious.
Exactly. I am just as excited as I was when I first started, and I will do my best to let the work show that again. Hope fans will see that too. So stay tuned for more information on Romita Jr.'s next Marvel work coming later this July. So I'm assuming that there's going to be some solicitations in a couple of weeks that will definitely have JR back. All right. I'm going to go to Paul first. I'll give my take, and then I'll let Neil. So, Paul.
I don't know if I want Neil to go last because I feel like there's going to be some real...
Well, that means I get the last word, and I've got a lot of words.
I don't.
So.
Yeah, but they're probably going to be wrong words.
I'll have the last word. So.
Thank you, Zach. I trust Zach because I think Zach is a little bit more. Yeah, what's the word? He's a little more in the middle. I would think about this. I think for me, John Romita Jr. for many years was one of my favorite artists in working in comic books. Period. I loved the Kick-Ass series, at least the original comic books. I obviously loved most of his Spider-Man work that he's done, and I know a lot of people will knock his blocky style from the '90s. I really liked it, to be quite honest. But so here's the thing. I, like many people, wasn't too enthralled with a lot of his DC work, with one major exception. I haven't looked through everything. I haven't read his Jeff Johns Superman run, which I did have, or no, Scott Snyder. It's either Scott Snyder or Johns. I forgot which one it was. But there's one DC book that I got from his tenure there that I was very impressed with. Now, All-Star Batman, or whatever that road trip story was that Scott Snyder did, was not very good. The story and the art just wasn't my thing. But the Dark Knight Returns world universe, the prologue, just the Dark Knight with the Joker in a straitjacket. If you find that one shot, or if you go and buy it digitally or whatever, that is to me some of his best artwork in the last 5-6 years. I love that the art in that story. The story is good too. I know it's Azzarello, and I know Azzarello is not exactly on everyone's love list, which I think I understand. But him and Frank crafted a pretty good story. But to be honest, Frank Miller's art, or excuse me, John Romita Jr.'s art was so good, and I thought it was great. And I don't doubt the talent that he has. Now, I don't think he's always been consistent lately, but I think he's still a great artist. I think he's one of the best still working out there. I think he has look at his past. He's got tons of talent. And I loved his work since Daredevil. When I really kind of first discovered his artwork was, working or, looking at those pictures from there. And then from there I got into Spider-Man and so forth. So yeah, I love John Romita Jr. I think he's a phenomenal talent. Like I said, his DC work wasn't always the best. I haven't seen all his DC work, but he has done some good DC work too. So I know he's got good stuff in him. I think I would not be shocked if he has a return to form back with Marvel. I really wouldn't. And I welcome it. I want him back on Spider-Man. So I would love to see him on there at some point. So get him back on there with Nick Spencer. That to me seems like a great pairing. Him and Mary Jane, drawing Mary Jane again. Like, I love his Mary Jane. I love his redheads. He draws them. I love the way he draws them. They're great. So anyway, I'm super excited about it. I'm sure Neil will probably puke all over himself because he doesn't like blocky characters or something. I don't know. But
I resent that statement. Shut up, Paul.
Whatever. All right, I'm done.
Get out, Jen.
Okay.
I don't know what generation you were born in.
I don't either.
What year were you born?
82.
All right, so
I think that's Gen Y.
I don't know. We had that debate in our freaking group chat, and I don't even it hurts.
I forgot about that. I know. I'm so confused. I'm like, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Like,
Okay.
all right. So, retired Vice President Dick Cheney.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a lot of flack for saying this. But okay, can you pull up the press release? I bring this up for a very specific reason. If you remember back when they did Bendis is coming, when he was going over to DC, like they made a huge deal about it. Real quick, Zach, can you scroll down to where it says Romita Jr.'s back? Oh, I think he's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can you scroll down to where it says Romita Jr. is back? Like on the graphic. Yeah, okay, so whenever I see these, I always see them as like threats rather than like celebrations. Like, Romita Jr. is back! Bendis is coming! You have to live with it! You have to live with your choices. And for me, I know I sound like a whiny little turd, but I can't remember a single JR piece I've liked since his World War Hulk. And I know that's very subjective taste. The closest I've been to liking like a pre-World War Hulk of his was actually the one that Paul dislikes the most, which was Snyder's All-Star Batman. And that was because I think he had a better inker on there, because I think he's been working with Klaus Janson this entire time.
It's my inherent problem with JR. When you look at the Lost Years, and you look at what him and Klaus Janson did, Janson enhanced the artwork with his inks. However, Janson's lately have been very, very loose and not nearly as tight.
And very thick, which makes it really hard to tell what's going on.
But I also think, too, and somebody brought this up on Twitter when we were talking about it, the digital coloring does not suit Romita Jr.'s style. I just don't feel like it does.
Agree, disagree on that.
It just, like, okay, you look at his, okay, so I'm going to bring up Venkman because he had a good comment. He didn't care for JRJ. Opinion changed during the Mackie Byrne reboot. The stories were cack. I definitely liked JRJR's art better than Burns, and with the JMS run, I was a fan. See, I loved the Mackie Romita stuff in the late '90s, from the time he got on Clone Saga, all the way through. And I need to go. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at who was the inker. but I think it was.
I think it's Klaus.
Was it Klaus?
I don't. Are you sure? Well, hold on.
Because the best or some of his stuff that I like recently was his work on Tom King's Batman. Also, Zach, you're muted.
I am.
No, you're not anymore. But you were trying to say something, and you were making any noise. Oh well. But he recently did work with Mark Morales on Tom King's Batman. I think it was numbers 80 and 81, and that was much tighter ink work. And as someone who puts a lot of effort into analyzing art, Klaus Janson is definitely slipping in terms of being able to enhance Romita Jr.'s work.
I don't get me twisted, folks. I'm in the camp, so I'll give my thoughts briefly, and then we can kind of go back and forth. I'm excited for this, with the caveat I need to see who's going to be doing things. I also, people were throwing up like a couple of different Brand New Day era Spider-Man Romita stuff, and I'm like, sorry, Paul. That ASM 600 issue, we know for a fact, this is not opinion, that they were literally writing pages a week out before it had to go to print. So, like, that's what I call the hurried style of Romita. I don't think it was nearly as tight. They're trying to get everything done.
Zach's panicking. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Freaking dog who's like,
it's okay. If you need to take your dog out, I have actually a really interesting thing about what I just realized. I had no idea. This kind of blew my mind. So I went through and looked at the first Ben Reilly issue that of Spider-Man that he did, and post him taking over Spider-Man. And do you know who inks him? It looks like
who?
Al Williamson, Al Migr.
Yeah,
like Dick Giordano, like I can't. Sorry, I always mispronounce people's names. All those legends are all inked the title, basically inked that comic. It's what it says. It says Mackie, and then John Romita Jr., and then it says and Al Williamson, Dick Giordano, and the other guy. I forgot his name. But anyway, all legends. So I was like, oh, okay. So I always thought that I was a pretty solid looking book anyway. The writing was kind of suspect, but yeah, that's why for the first issue anyway. I'll look for the other ones too, but I thought that was pretty funny. I'm pretty sure Klaus. Was it Klaus who did? It was Klaus who did Buscema's art in the Clone Saga era or the Ben Reilly era too, right?
I also didn't know that he did. I think he was one who did Miller's inks on Daredevil, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He followed him everywhere.
Palmiotti did. Sometimes Sal did his own inks. Like, it was very, very inconsistent who did the inking.
Right.
With Spectacular after Sienkiewicz left. It was definitely an upgrade with Sal on his pencils, but it definitely was not as consistent as it once was.
I assume it was just there's like who's in the office today who can get this done within a certain time, and it just tended to be whoever was there.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at the art. Yeah, so it's Al Williamson and Dick Giordano. They are the ones who are inking the Spider-Man series. So, and I'll be honest, like I'm with Neil on this. I think he's onto something. That the fact that it's thinner lines, I think really, in my opinion, help John Romita Jr. And that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. And maybe I'm not sure who we had inking on all those series. And now I should actually look back and see who inked him on the Dark Knight comic. I'm pretty sure it's probably going to be Klaus, since it's by Frank Miller and it's John Romita Jr. So I'd imagine that's who probably did it. I'll look it up right now. But either way, like John Romita Jr. is a great talent. I don't think there's any doubt to say that, in my opinion. But it remains to be seen if he'll put out something that's great. I will say his Avengers run that he did with Bendis wasn't very good. I'll say that.
That was Jansen, and that was unfortunately his last stuff with Bendis and stuff was not good. I
It
dropped,
was not good. I agree.
dropped Avengers, and that was back when I was like reading everything.
It's amazing because like you had Stuart Immonen and Wade von Grawbadger on New Avengers, and that book is way easier to follow.
Yeah, I think that story. Yeah, and it's funny because I wish you could switch it around, right? Because I feel that run, like Bendis's run in New Avengers, was like kind of but I like the stories in the Avengers comic, but not the art or the kind of the collaboration between the two people wasn't great.
Yeah.
But you're right, Inman was a solid artist, and the art was great. The Brother Voodoo stuff, especially, was cool.
I don't want to sound like I'm just telling Romita Jr. like you've get out, let new talent come in. But like, and Romita Jr. has been celebrated. He's done his bit for Queen and Country. To quote Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, okay. I was like,
no, it was a movie.
I know. I hate you, Neil.
But
this kid, I love you.
I know.
I do. I love you.
But I think Romita Jr.'s, I don't want to say out of his prime. He's definitely, but I think he's definitely past his peak. And I know that sounds mean. I don't want to sound like I'm belittling him because he's.
I want to see. I really want to see what it looks like, because again, I have not followed his DC stuff hardly at all. Because again, I don't read DC anymore. I can't paraphrase. Not that I don't want to, and there's not like, because I've been going through my comics and bagging and boarding a lot of them, and trying to clean my office and get my office kind of straightened up and organized. Because I had it straightened up and organized, then I started moving things around, and that was always a bad idea. I'll say this. I think that it's a good thing that he's back at Marvel, because I feel like his style is better suited for Marvel Comics overall than DC Comics. And so that's where, like, I'm glad he got to go scratch those itches, because like I kind of wished for those DC fans it would have happened, 10 years sooner, because I think because you look at his Kick-Ass is great. You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's a myriad of things. I think he's got to be in simpatico with the writer, and I think that the writer needs to write stories that embellish his strengths and not his weaknesses.
Real quick, Paul, what was that one book he did for the New Age of Heroes for DC, Silencer?
Yeah, with Dan Abnett. I wanted to pick that up too.
Yeah, I thought that was really good, and I mentioned to my friend, like, that's like an exception to my JR DC experience, where it felt like genuinely great JR work. But then you look at like his Action Comics and his Superman Year One, or was it Year One?
No, Year One. Yeah, he did Year One with Frank Miller.
Yeah, and like Silencer represents like an odd aberration in terms of like a very poor turnout of work at DC.
So there's a couple things. And Neil, forgive me, I missed you said it earlier in your little your first intro about this whole thing. Did you say you didn't like World War Hulk art?
No, I liked World War Hulk. That was like that was the last JR work that I thought was like exceptional.
So you brought up a great point, Zach, that the writer needs to know how to write for John Romita Jr. And I felt Greg Pak did a phenomenal job writing for him. He pretty much, I feel like Greg just said, here, we'll do Marvel style. That's what it felt like anyway. And just let JR go crazy. And like specifically, my favorite issue of that whole series is when him and Sentry go at it. Like, that is the epitome of what the medium of superhero comic books is. It's like, it's just two powerhouses going at it, and you feel it on every page. I mean, that art, that's a great book. That's one of my favorite Hulk stories, to be honest. I love that series. And everything. But yeah, you're right. The art is great. Now, I just looked at the inker for the Dark Knight Prelude, which if you haven't read that, Neil, go pick it up, dude. Or I'm not sure if you have DC Universe, go read it. Like the art is good, I think. And if you like the Scott Snyder stuff, I think you'd like this this thing. What I realized is that this inker is Peter Sedgefield. I'm not familiar with the inker very well, but it's not Klaus Janson. So right there, I'm like, okay, so that's, and I love the art in that book, and I'm curious if it's Klaus in the Superman book. So I'm gonna look at that right now. But yeah, I think that you bring a great point is, and both of you guys have said this, the inker makes it. And if he's inking himself, I'm not sure how often he does that, but he needs a good inker. I think I definitely agree with. But there's still great work. The World War Hulk stuff is so good. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, and then like you look at like Avengers versus X-Men.
Ooh.
It's like I don't wanna be on this ride anymore. Like, get me off.
That I agree with. That I can't argue with. And I don't, like I said, that there have been times when you're like, what is John Romita Jr. doing? And other times I'm like, this is so good. And it just, I want him to come back to where he's doing great work again. And he's a great artist. He's going to. And Zach, you nailed on the head there. His kick-ass stuff, at least the first series that I remember reading, was so good.
I have to walk on eggshells.
I think this is all good.
I have to walk on eggshells because I don't think you can understate. I don't think you can ever understate how much JR has contributed to the industry, and I do genuinely wish him the best on his future work. But I do think there needs to be a recognition that like he's not what he used to be.
I'll be honest, man. I'm going through. So it was on Superman Year One. It's inker is Danny Mikey. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And I'm just going through the pages. This looks pretty good. Like, this does not look bad at all. Like, at least what I'm looking at. This is like pretty cool, actually. That's what I think anyway. So I'm not sure if you read this story or not.
No, I've read it.
It does. I mean, I'm just looking at the pages.
It is circumstantially good. It depends on the composition and the layout of the page.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. Dude, I'm like digging how this is like old school. Like it's very traditional.
Maybe I'm just set in my ways, and
I mean, you like what you like, right? I mean, that's what makes us all individuals. So I mean, I just find it interesting because I definitely have seen art on the DC side that I've not been into, but just looking at the Superman book, I'm like, this actually is pretty good. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. So
that's true. I might just I didn't have a very good experience with Romita Jr. past World War Hulk, so maybe I'm reflecting that in how I'm interpreting his Superman, but like his Action Comics is.
I haven't read that, and
really rough.
Yeah, I've seen parts of that too, where I haven't been impressed myself. To be quite honest, I have most of those issues. So I'm with you. Yeah,
so Venkman actually pulled. Yeah, I watch WGBS TV live with Bailey every week, and the people in the live chat seem to only follow DC and Superman titles, and they weren't fans of JR. They were all, what the F is with this guy?
Yeah, and look, I know full well that there's going to be guys and gals that there's certain guys that have never seen John Romita Jr.'s work on Spider-Man. And I feel like the tone of like this book, the book we're covering tonight, is definitely one of those books that I'm going, okay,
and someone's going to clown on me because I'm going to talk about Vincentini's art positively compared to, and someone's going to be like, but you didn't like John Romita Jr. You don't like John Romita Jr.'s current work.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a minute. So,
I can see Paul. He's ready to clown on me.
All right, here we go. All right, so we're going to get into the ASM 63 review.
Also, Marvel needs to stop thinking they can get away with like these $4.99 issues every 10 issues because this is getting expensive.
That ain't no kid. So, all right. So now I want to apologize to everybody because those of you that look at the artwork for the episode will clearly see that that this is Bagley's interpretation of the new suit, not the existing Spidey suit. Which I don't know why that was a thing.
I liked it.
They probably wanted to hide it.
Yeah. And to be honest, I thought it was cool because I thought I was just going to get the Spider-Man suit, the regular one. And then when I went into the actual comic this morning digitally, it showed up with that cover. I went, oh, that's cool. So yeah. I'm into it.
Now, I was into it too. I was like, all right, cool. It's nice to see the back of the suit.
Yeah.
Who did the? Is it Hennessy who did the cover?
I think so.
Yeah, you can tell it's Hennessy. I'm never gonna get off the John Dell drags down Bailey train.
Speaking of inkers that drag down legendary artists. All right, so part one.
Speaking of,
for those that are looking at the visual aids here, it's got King's Ransom in the top left-hand corner. So this is the start of this King's Ransom arc. All right, so we open up at Ravencroft with Norman Osborn lamenting about the time that they went to a ball game with him and Harry, and Harry doesn't respond because he's
in a box.
Almost become like Clone Saga level of meme with them. But we learned something very important here, that Norman thinks he has control of Ravencroft, but no, the Kingpin of Crime has control over everything. Apparently he's not seen the 90s show enough. So Kingpin is talking with somebody off panel. It turns out that person is Baron Mordo.
That was rad.
Yeah, Baron Mordo is back, and he's having the conversation with Kingpin. They do reference Secret Empire about the fact that they were at odds at one time, and he's like, Baron Mordo loves a challenge, so it's going to be an interesting supernatural fight.
Was Mordo in Hydra Cap's Cabal thing, or am I thinking of someone else?
I have no idea about Red Secret Empire.
Yeah, I have not kept up on Baron Mordo in a long time, but I like the character.
Let us know in the comments section below about Baron Mordo's previous work. All right.
Your eyes and ears.
Yeah, so looks like things can get very ugly. We finally cut to Peter and Boomerang. They're fighting. It looks like a Grand Central Station, I think. And they're trying to get another fragment of the Tablet of Time. You got Hammerhead's goon. This looks like it could be a fight out of the future Spider-Man PS5 game with Peter Parker. When suddenly the Owl shows up. The Owl's there to show up, and he starts creating mayhem and havoc. And then we cut back to what was going on at the time. So, Neil, stop leaning in your seat.
I'm sorry. I don't do it on purpose.
All right.
It's the Owl Hammer War.
Just mute yourself until you talk.
All right. So, anyway, we got Lincoln, L. Thompson Lincoln, seeing Janice Lincoln macking with Robbie Robertson's son Randy. This is not ending well, and they're literally about to go do this sting. Tombstone decides I can't do this because they got history, they got beef, and then there's this gorgeous 2-page spread, and I'm going to pull it up for those that are watching us on YouTube. This thing is just gorgeous, and it's great in the book. It's basically a visual timeline of what happened with Robbie and Tombstone, and it's really great. One of Jerry Conway's best later creations was Tombstone and this storyline with Robbie and how far back they go. Just incredible artwork here. Great double page splash.
Can I just say I appreciate that Spencer didn't have to put a bunch of a bunch of dialogue boxes everywhere to ruin the flow. He just let Vicentini tell the story visually.
Yeah, did a really great job.
Well said, Neil. Well said.
Yes, Venkman. I'll get some WD-40. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, Venkman's calling you out.
Oh, he's clowning Neil, dude.
Oh, Pete Illustrated, Paul in the sport coat looking handsome. You were wearing that last night on your stream.
I was. It's my new jam. I have a story, a little stupid story about it, but I'll tell it later.
All right,
I'm going to talk about Spider-Man.
So anyway, Al is taking out Boomerang, and then Peter points out to Hammerhead, hey, he's taking out Boomerang. And so that causes Hammerhead and Al to start fighting, which is hilarious. So basically that gives Fred the chance to go out. He flees. I'm going to acknowledge something because especially in a lot of these panels, you're seeing doves flying around. I don't know if that's supposed to be doves or if that's supposed to be devil birds or if that's supposed to be, I don't know what those are. So
I think those are supposed to be pigeons. I recently, yes, we are aware of the conversation that happened in a Discord about the birds. I am fairly certain these are just pigeons.
So Jonah shows up. He's been there the whole time. Peter's taking selfies with some chicks, which I'm sure is going to make MJ happy later. Jonah's like he's like, smile, Spidey, and he's like, dude, they can't see me smile. So we kind of get a little bit of a backstory. We got Nora Winters kind of being involved, and there's been some public awareness. The memes have also been gold. Kingpin's approval ratings are going down, which is always a good thing. And apparently there's going to be an AMA at 7 p.m. Easterns where Spidey does that. Jonah's like, I bet you Robbie Robertson hates it. But there's something that Robbie Robertson hates more. And that is when his son starts dating his former
arch nemesis.
R/S Spidey anything.
So this is where half the issue, and that's where the cover comes from, where we're starting to have the two sides talk. And okay, some deep cuts made by Robbie here, specifically about, he's like, hey, you look upset, and he's like, upset, Randy? I was upset the first 3 times you got arrested for protesting.
Protesting, yeah, that was a great callback.
Yeah, callback to I'm
the
pointing.
70s.
It's actually on my door. Don't judge me. I still have
move the camera.
Yeah, it's on my door. But I have the Crisis on Campus issue. That is where one of the times we saw Randy get arrested. He was like, I was upset when you decided to pass on getting a law degree so you could go into social work. I was upset because I was worried for you, but I was also very proud, always proud. I told myself, hey, that's what you get for raising a kid with such a big heart. Somebody who really wants to do some good in the world. Well, boy, was I wrong. And bam, pulls out the picture of them two back.
That was rough, dude. When Robbie did that, I was like, man, Robbie's kind of being, but you know what? You can understand why he'd be so upset. And if you see Robbie this upset, you know he's pissed.
Like, Robbie's not the type that gets very.
No, exactly. Yeah. So it's a big deal that and I believe that you understand why he's this mad.
Yeah. So, like, of all the people in the world, he's talking about, look, this is a criminal that we're investigating. We're trying to take her down. She's a full-blown supervillain. And then he brings up Lincoln. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And you're like, oh, just dripping of hatred. So, he's made Robbie's life a living hell for 20 years. But Randy, justifiably so, says, look, they're their own people and they're going back and forth. Needless to say, this conversation does not end well. Basically, but it's much more tame than what was going on uptown, because friggin' Tombstone is just pissed. He's throwing things. He's blowing stuff up. Freaking Janice is having to
I was about to say, Janice isn't really much better.
I know. I love Janice. Is like, I should incinerate you or whatever. I thought it was hilarious. I love Janice.
I could have had these things set to vaporize.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Like Nick Spencer. I mean, obviously he knows how to write her because he wrote her extremely well in the Superior Foes. But man,
and Ant-Man.
Here you really do feel sorry for her here.
I do kind of wish they had brought up her no one will know my greatest secret, that I'm really a nice person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing though too. That was an Ant-Man, correct?
That was in Superior Foes, I think.
No, that's an Ant-Man. It's an Ant-Man because she does that helping Scott. I remember. I'm almost positive it is. I could be wrong, but no. This to me, I love her character because she's a tad bit sociopath, but not quite complete sociopath. You know what I mean? Like she knows what she's doing, but she also has no feelings because her dad's Tombstone and she grew up in a very, insane criminal world. But I just love how she's a little bit off her rocker, but not completely off. It's a great character. It makes you kind of fall in love with an anti-hero. You can kind of understand why she'd be appealing to Rob, oh my God, I always forget his name.
Randy.
I always call him Robbie Jr. Randy. It's true though. But no, you can see why Randy would kind of fall for her, to be honest, at least in my opinion. So
I do like that. Like when Janice is tearing up and fighting Tombstone, she's like, "Well, every time you say something bad about him, that makes him hotter."
Yeah, you realize what you're doing is making this worse. Anyway. Yeah. So Peter and Randy finally sit down and they finally have the conversation. At this point, Peter kind of says, almost lets the cat out of the bag. Well, Spider-Man told me that you guys are dating, and he's like, Spider-Man knows. And then there's two favorite lines. The one with Janice saying, "Hey Siri, play Papa Don't Preach."
Yeah,
That made me laugh, which I hope that doesn't set my iPhone off. But her saying that,
you have to press the button.
no, you can set the Hey Siri feature on.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't know that.
but anyway, so we get this back and forth between the syndicate and Peter, and they're kind of going back and forth. And like, how did you two even meet? And so we finally learn the origin stories of their first encounter. You see, it all started the night that she tried to kill Boomerang.
I was reading this with Zach before the show, and I burst out laughing when I saw that.
So she's literally like, she walks in, she's got the gunner in, she's snuck in through the window, and he's like, "Hey," and she's like, "Hey."
Where's the shoulder touch?
And so then they get, even super villainesses think it's adorable. So they're like, that's the most romantic thing that one of them's ever heard.
it's ridiculous.
And like Peter's like, "Dude, that's messed up. Do you really want my advice?" Like, and Scorpio finally is like, "Dude, you got to break up with this guy because he's gonna like, guys are always gonna be like that." And Randy's like, "She's technically a criminal, but she's not. I mean, the line between what's legal and what's not is getting grayer every day, and blah blah blah." blah.
I thought that was interesting. I thought that was interesting, to be honest. I mean,
but Scorpio is like, "Look, it's not going to work. He's going to be always trying to change you." And even at a point, he's like, "Maybe I can help her change." And so it's like, it literally, they're going back and forth. They both come up with the same thing. Peter and the syndicate was like, "Oh, you got to talk." Well, apparently they had some great talking.
Yeah.
Some great talking.
There's something about.
I'm not gonna lie. I went. That's good on you, Randy.
Oh,
but then it was kind of also like
based Randy.
So, needless to say,
because then it's like, "I'm gonna make you a good guy."
Yeah, Randy's like, "Oh, he's like, well, maybe if I help you reform," and then she's like, "What?" And then they're having this argument. Meanwhile, Crime Master, who I thought was dead, but I forgot.
It's a Hobgoblin franchise, probably.
Is that Bennett Brantho?
No,
I remember
it's not Bennett, because I remember a while back they made a new Crime Master, like one of the Hobgoblin franchises.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So the Crime Master's, goons are starting to get there. Meanwhile, at like some, storage facility, Peter and Fred are like, they've got one piece to go. They've got it taped up against the wall. Everything's good. They're calling it a night, but they're finally going to fill Randy in on what's going on. Well, then Madame Mask shows up, and freaking Janice fangirls, straight up fangirls. Starts talking a mile a minute, and like at one point, freaking Madame Mask kicks her in the face, and I was like, "Listen."
That was great. Yeah.
So we then get Peter's got a spider sense going off. Fred is like, "There's a story to tell," and Madame Mask is there. Fred's there. I love Fred. He's like, "This is not what it looks like." Like freaking out. Peter's trying to jump away, but then like Crime Master's goons are starting to start to fire stuff, and then we get the final 3/4 page splash or half page splash of boom. It's literally, that's how the issue ends.
Like a giant explosion.
A giant explosion. There you go. That's how the issue ends. And then, of course, in my head, that's how the issue ends in my head. Every time that there's a to be continued. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is the issue. The issue 64 will be on sale in 2 weeks on the 21st, which is one of our next episodes here of CSC of Spideydude Experience. All right, back to the issue at hand. I'm going to go with Paul. Paul, what's your thoughts? What's your grade?
Well, I'm going to say this issue is a solid, I'd say B+. and I say B plus only because I really enjoyed it. It just wasn't. Oh my god, it's amazing! It was a really enjoyable issue. I think that's a good thing. I don't. It's not a begrudgment at all to the material. I thought the story was good. I thought I love all the addition of the characters. We got less Spider-Man. I think that's why I gave it a lesser grade. It's just because it had less Spidey in the actual comic book in action, which again, I don't need him for every 5 seconds, but I'm gonna give it a I said I gave it a B plus, so I'd give it a B plus. So yeah, I think this is a solid book. I love what Nick Spencer's doing. It was cool to see Spider-Man in action a little bit. Again, that's not just the same, just kind of, same kind of, or different artists doing the suit, and just kind of see it in action a little bit. That was nice. One of the things I thought was interesting about it was it looked a little bit more robotic, if you will, which I thought was interesting. I definitely liked Gleason's interpretation of the costume so far, because it seems like it's less robotic, if that makes any sense. But either way, I thought the art in here was pretty good. I know he's done Spider-Man before, but I forgot which part of the run he did. Do you guys remember?
It was the Last Remains side series.
That's
of
right.
LR issues.
I remember talking and saying I like this guy's art. So yes, thank you. So yeah, I think this artist is great, and I think that they're only going to get better if we keep putting them on the book. So to me, let's keep him on Spider-Man and get him growing, get him used to doing the character, because I think this is great, solid work here. That could be potentially great. So I like it. Again, the new suit's a little. Again, I don't love completely love the interpretation of the suit, but regardless, I still like the suit. And I also love, again, that Spencer's planting the seeds of morally is doing what he's doing the same thing as what he was doing as a photographer for the Daily Bugle. I already love that fact that it's like, is it really? He's struggling with that idea. And let's be real. I like the idea that the fact that Spider-Man is struggling with that. He's trying to grasp, is it right and wrong? Because this is what we do as everyday people about things, big decisions we have to do. So I love that. I think it's great. So give it a solid B plus. I wish Spider-Man was a little bit in it more, but besides that, great book. Recommend it.
Neil.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay,
It's
sorry.
your turn. What's your grade?
I'm gonna give it a B plus. Sorry, I didn't notice that you messaged me. I think my biggest problem was that Peter just wasn't in it that much. It was mainly a Randy Janice focused issue, which we were promised, so I can't really fault them for giving us what we were promised. But it kind of felt like Peter was kind of put to the side a bit and played the role of supportive best friend. And that's never really a bad thing, but the way the chips fell. The comedy was great this issue. Randy and Janice being in the spotlight gave a lot of really good dramatic opportunities that I thought. I called this stuff how long ago? Back during ASM 11 when it first came out. So I'm really glad to see.
You definitely have been one of those people that have been on this whole Janice Randy train
since it was first even implied.
Yeah, I do like the fact that there's a lot of compulsion between the two characters. And sorry, I didn't mean to step on it, but all over your review. But
that's fine.
I do like the fact that there is this compulsive nature of these two characters. Randy is such an idealist, like his dad, but it's with a bit of
naivete rather than.
There's a lot of naivete because he didn't go through the things his dad went through. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
and plus he kind of sees everything as a project to work on, I guess, because he's a social worker, so helping people in need is his thing. So that's
part of the reason he reached out to Peter again was because he feels sorry for Peter, and yeah, this is a really good start to the arc. I really, really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed how that goes. So I'll let you finish, and then I'll get more into mine.
Not really a whole much to say outside of that. Like I said, I do think Peter could have been in it a bit more, other than just being the best friend.
Yeah, I agree with
Federico Vicentini, I'm glad he's on the permanent art roster. I know people who are like, "Oh, I don't want Vicentini here," but I think he's great.
Word.
I loved him on Falcon Winter Soldier, and I really want to see more of him. So I can see why some people don't like him. His art is a very acquired taste, but I'm all for it. It's like a better Ramos.
Would you really say it's an acquired taste? Because I don't think it's that acquired. It's not like what's his name? Chris Pachalo. Or not Pachalo. Yeah. It's not like that's an acquired taste, I mean, listen, it's funny. I read the first issue of that Falcon Winter Soldier book series that you're referencing, and I wasn't into it there, but I think it's been good here. So I think it depends on the characters he's using. I wouldn't use him for like a gritty, not saying that Falcon Winter Soldier. Yeah, spy thriller. This is embracing the superhero aspect, completely here, and he's been pretty darn strong here.
Hang on, is anyone else hearing feedback?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Zach, is that you?
That was me. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, I'm with you. This is great. I'm glad honestly, I would not be shocked if he ended up, like you said, like becoming a more popular artist with Spider-Man, because I think it fits his niche a little bit more.
Yeah, now he's got a active profile because he's on ASM now.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if he's solicited to come back in the next couple of arcs or not, but I hope he does. Like I know we've got Gleason. Right now we've got 4 artists on the main lineup. We've got Bagley, we've got Gleason, Vicentini, and Ferreira. I'm not happy with Ferreira. I'm not sure if I would say I would take JRJ over Ferreira, but I could give or take that one. I honestly wish it was just Gleason, Vicentini, and Bagley though. I miss when books only needed to have like 1 or 2 artists, but I get that the work culture around comic book creation has changed, so that's not really feasible as it was back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, I mean,
that's a whole. I also think that this particular series is so demanding with the amount of issues, because you're not doing 12 issues a year, you're doing 24.
Yeah. And recently we've been doing like 3 or 4 issues a month.
Yeah.
Well, you get guys and gals that, I mean, look at Last Remains. We had solid 12 issue. I mean, it was weekly. I mean, at the end of the year last year. So that's which caught it up for the most part. But I mean, look, this was going to be if issue 60 was the end of the second era. I'm really glad that we're finally getting this addressed. Like this was been tinkering in the background for a while, and so now we're addressing this particular storyline. I really am enjoying it. I hate that we're having to get a one shot to finish the story, which kind of annoys me. But overall, I think I liked the artwork. My grade, I'm going to give this an A-. I think it was really, really solid. Really great character work. I think Randy, reacts really well. But I also think Robbie really shines in this issue. He's the most important thing. I do get a little irritated with Jonah because Jonah is so wrapped up in his own BS.
And that's not necessarily out of character for him.
Yeah, exactly.
But my issue with it is with Robbie. Okay, this is Jonah unfiltered, unstopped,
and without someone to call him out. Nora enables him.
Now there is no accountability with Jonah, like there would be with if Robbie was still working with Jonah, because like before. The only person that can check Jonah is Robbie, and now that that's no longer been the case, and it's been a while, it's going to be really interesting to see at the end of this arc when you got Jonah, up here being bombastic, being the guy that he's been, going, Jonah, stop. You're we're trying to do things the right way, and everything you're doing is the wrong way. And inevitably, when this blows up, and when the chameleon aspect of this story hits, it's going to be really, really fascinating to see where they go from here.
I'll be honest, man. I'm not really super excited about the chameleon. He's never been a character I've really been into. I give Spencer I give him all the reasons and all the chances to prove me wrong and show me that the chameleon can be a compelling, interesting character. I think it's possible. I don't know if it's going to happen for me anyway. I just cannot get into the character. He's never appealed to me.
So the reason I'm holding out on this is because I love the way he wrote him in Superior Foes when he was screwing around with Fred.
That I forgot he was part of that. But yes, you're right. You're right. He was.
Now, granted, it's not going to be a comedic aspect because, this is Amazing Spider-Man, not, SNL with Spider-Man characters.
And he wants revenge because of Kraven.
Yeah. So there's that component to it. And then I guess that also ties into the Foreigner stuff, which is important. Foreigner / Silver Sable because of the Kharkov stuff. I'm surprised they didn't put that in like Doctor Doom. Well, they did, but then it got undone. But yeah.
I mean, it's. I think the character is. It's hard to not make him just one dimensional, in my opinion. And it's the shapeshifter stories. You have to have a real good story because they've been done, and it's a very tired trope. And for me, it just never really appealed. It just never really did it. I just think that there's not a lot to do with the character. Now, I give Spencer any chance because the guy is a great writer, and I think he could do something probably with him because he's a great writer. But I'm not expecting a lot. And the fact it's supposed to be this huge event, it makes me a little bit nervous. This is probably the one time of Spencer's run that I'm like, oh no, we'll see. But I'm not holding my breath, but I'm not counting against it because it's Nick Spencer. I think he's a great writer, so we'll see.
So here's a kind of question I haven't seen really thought into. What do you guys make of Peter, Randy, and Fred's apartment being blown up by the superhuman cabal thing? Because that I think is gonna end. That's gonna end the roommate stuff. And I think Peter's gonna move in with MJ.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, you're right. I was just gonna say that. Well,
I mean, look, that's a great prediction, and we'll be able to go back and listen to this whenever.
And I'll probably be proven wrong.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I think it won't happen immediately, Neil. But I think this is the precursor to getting them together to undoing One More Day and things like that. Like when that eventually happens, this is a precursor of them going in that direction. Like, oh, it works out perfect. We can just be together and it's all going to work out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised that they were living together, like for a place to stay. He needed, the crash, and they find out, oh, wait a minute, we were married this whole time, and let's just, we're already there. So that's what I think.
No, I think that's a very reasonable thing. I'm in for this ride. I've been waiting and ready for this King's Ransom thing to come to a head. I think it's going to affect the mayoral aspect of Kingpin, so I think there'll be a lot of reverberation.
Do you think Kingpin's going to go away
as mayor? Yes.
Look, because we have to remember that this is still an ongoing thing in Zdarsky's Daredevil. So whoever,
I do think that those two they are talking with each other because
they have to. Yeah.
I think that there's Zdarsky. I'm not saying Daredevil's part of the Spider-Man group, but Zdarsky is close enough with like Lowe that
the street level writers that they probably brainstorm what's going on.
Exactly. So
I don't. Here's the thing with Kingpin, you can easily make him not the mayor, and he's still going to be impactful in Daredevil because even what they're set up there is that it's important to an extent that he's the mayor, but he's not. Even Zdarsky's run itself is putting Kingpin in a line to where like it wouldn't shock me if like he would totally deviate from that and still continue what he wanted to do.
I don't disagree. I'm just thinking like which writer's going to have the balls to do it first.
It's going to be Spencer, because to me it affects Spider-Man more as Wilson, at least from again, I read both comics like we all do probably. I'm not sure Zach's reading Daredevil or not, but
I started picking it up recently with the last interaction that they had, and that they finally of course he didn't reveal his identity like he should have, but
He already knows it.
But no, hold on. I don't think Daredevil should know his identity though, even if he doesn't, because he never knew it before.
Wait, does
no?
Yeah,
Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna take you back, Zach. Mr. Clone Saga. Do you remember what happens? But hold on a second. Wait, I think I'm wrong.
Yeah, you are, because he found out.
You're right. You're right. I'm
he
wrong.
found out during the Senator arc, because he got around Peter and then he got around Spider-Man and realized that the heartbeat rhythm was the exact same, because
Okay, that's right.
superhuman.
Okay, I take it back, because I remember when he's talking to Ninja Daredevil, he says, he does say to him, like, I was Peter, we shared our secrets, not as a Spider-Man, but as Peter Parker and Matt Murdock. He goes, great job revealing your identity, even though I'm not Matt Murdock.
That's because he was trying to convince everybody.
I know. It's because
You forgot the Daredevil aspect of it, but yeah, because like he's sitting there in that because he's like, how do you kill?
Yeah.
How do you kill a man?
I just checked. I just checked. As far as I can tell, he hasn't found it out since One More Day.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I don't know why. I kind of just assumed that because Peter revealed his identity to the rest of the new Avengers, that Daredevil would know. What?
That was right before he joined.
Remember did he even really join though?
No, I'm talking about the post Dark Reign era.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
After Dark Reign, Daredevil didn't join because
like midway through the book. Yeah.
Did he really join though? I don't even look at that as he joined. He showed up for like 5 issues and then bolted. He had to team up with Squirrel Girl and left.
So did Wolverine.
Yeah. So I mean, listen,
I can see Paul like really uncomfortable when I said that.
The two people that should know outside of like Peter's immediate circle is Johnny and the Fantastic Four by proxy.
But Johnny didn't know he was Peter Parker forever.
Yeah, but to me, it makes the most sense. The way that they are now, as opposed to before. Like in the 80s, you could make the argument. There's no reason for them to know. But after the 90s, and then after they started to really truly gain the mutual respect, and I think that after especially everything that happened and him joining the FF, like Peter's the unofficial 5th member.
Like Slott and Hickman kind of irrevocably changed Peter's relationship with.
That's a good point. Yeah, Hickman definitely did. Yes.
I think it was that is one of the changes that I'm glad has stayed, because there's been a lot of changes, including stuff that came out today. Venom spoilers.
Immortal Hulk?
Read it.
No.
I need to read Immortal Hulk. I'm 2 issues behind.
Wait, did a new FF issue come out today?
No. I'm talking about Venom spoilers.
Oh yeah, that.
Don't tell the audience, but tell me afterwards. I'm not.
Yeah, I'll let you know afterwards. But
the real King in Black was the friends we made along the way.
Basically, the only thing I'll say is a bought dead character is not dead anymore. Venom related. And
I know who Zach is talking about. We'll talk about it after the show.
We'll talk about it definitely after the show. I don't want to give it away, but yeah. I'm going to try to get Symbiote Bro on one of these days, and we're just going to do King of Black and from start to finish.
And me and him can argue about the Spider-Man symbiote comics that we were arguing about back on the old Discord. Do you remember that, Neil?
I remember.
I remember. Yeah. I'll take him on. Spider-Man. Bring it on, bro. Come on, bring it on. Let's do it.
The Gregland good.
That was good art, dude. Dude, his Black Knight is so good. You cannot tell me it does not look good.
Listen, but
okay, Paul. There is such a thing as liking something too much, and Greg Land is one of them.
Okay, hold on. You can say whatever you want about Greg Land. I know he's got controversies, and I'm not going to defend any of those controversies. As an isolated thing, you look at that Black Knight, his Black Knight from the latest series, and you're going to tell me it's not good?
Yes.
You're going to tell me. Are you serious?
Yes.
All right. Like compositionally, it is good. My problem is that he is a very good artist. Okay, his artwork aesthetically is very pleasing. The problem is that he tends to do far more. It's not his own work, and you can tell that he's trying to recreate. Instead of using those as models and forming his own style, it's like this hyper
crutch.
What is he using for Black Knight? Tell me. And Captain Marvel in that series too, and Rocket Raccoon.
I could probably find you a Xander Corvus porn scene.
And I mean, not trying to be a snarky
when it comes to females, come on, dude.
I know the porn star thing. I get it, but his Black Knight, his Rocket Raccoon, his Kang. You tell me, you show me where he's ripping that off from.
No, like Rocket Raccoon again. I say that Greg Land's art aesthetically is pleasing, and I feel like things like Rocket Raccoon is starting to stretch him out more as a artist. However, and again, it's aesthetically pleasing. My problem is that there's far too many instances where I'm sitting there flipping through a book and I'm going, oh God, that looks just like somebody's face. That it looks like almost as if he traced it, and it's not intentional. It's just unfortunately
we've been conditioned.
Performance is indicative of his of what's going on in the present. So looking at especially what he's done in the past, I'm going, okay, I want to. He can fundamentally he can draw better than I ever can. Okay,
well, but better than a lot of people out there, to be honest.
I mean, he's great in terms of art. He can create some gorgeous art. My problem is that when he's doing things outside of when he's doing human people, it feels stilted and it feels uninspired. What it feels like when he's doing things that are in costume, I really think it's a dynamic aspect. Some of the best, I felt like there was some good artwork he did during the Hunted arc when he did those a few of those covers. There was a couple of those covers that I liked. There was a couple of covers I was like, the
Black Cat one was rough. The Gibbon one I think was actually pretty good.
I would agree with that 100%.
So again, I think he's grown a lot as an artist. It's just it's the aesthetic that it takes me out of the story.
It's so funny when people get all hung up on with art and comics and things like that. With again, you can totally rip off someone. Like Bob Kane, right? Like Bob Kane took Michelangelo and took the cover of Batman, the Detective Comics, whatever that was, and aped it, and no one said anything for years until 50 years later, right? So I mean, for me, if you're totally ripping it off and not giving it credit, and you're in a whatever, but if you're basing someone again, Mike Deodato, great example. Tommy Lee Jones was his Norman Osborn for Thunder.
Does anyone remember when he traced the Lego? Does anyone remember when he traced the Lego Snowspeeder in Avengers?
Deodato?
Yeah, there was. Okay, if you look closely, when Sunspot's giant carrier appears over the helicarriers,
Sunspot.
You can tell that if you look closely, he traced parts from a Lego Snowspeeder instruction manual. I will send you pictures real quick.
Again, I don't need pictures. Deodato's one of my favorites. I care less.
Is great. I love his art. I really like his '90s work.
Dude, Deodato's amazing. I don't give a crap.
But there was moments in his JMS run where it did take me out because I wasn't looking at Peter Parker interpreted by Mike Deodato. I was looking at Jason Priestley as Peter Parker, interpreted by Mike Deodato.
Well, it's funny because I like
Tyler of Mary Jane, interpreted by Mike Deodato.
It's so weird because I didn't mind. I don't mind that stuff. It's like La Roca, right? Everyone's like, no, La Roca. I mean, granted, La Roca had some weird stuff happen in Star Wars. Some weird. I did not know what was going on.
Real quick, Paul. Someone caught him stealing someone's work off of DeviantArt and he forgot to remove the watermark.
Listen, I understand. I'm not sure the whole concept of that story. All I know is from Iron Man comic books, that he did, the Iron Man run he did with Fraction,
Yeah, it was good.
Is good. Like it's there's I don't know how he's stealing from DeviantArt. I don't know what he's doing from there, like from that series. I'm just going back from what I know.
I don't joke about this shit.
Oh no. Oh no.
You thought I was joshing with you.
I didn't think you were joking. I don't think you would do that on purpose.
Okay. Anyway, so all things being considered, because we're getting way off on a tangent.
This is what you come here for. You come for the arguments.
Come for the reviews. Stay for the tangents. I know.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I do want to point out what Vigman said. Also, Peter figured out that Matt Murdock was Daredevil back in the '60s, and that is true.
Thank you, Vigman.
Thank you, Vigman.
Thank you.
Continuity cop over here, Vigman.
Where's my gift? Where's my gift, Vigman?
Talking about what we're seeing here, I loved the art this issue. That 2-page splash is just chef's kiss good.
I forgot about when Robbie stabbed Tombstone with a pitchfork, dude. I totally forgot about that.
I'm hoping that all of this will be collected on Marvel Unlimited soon.
Oh, it's gonna. A lot of it is though. Like that Tombstone stuff's on there.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of that Conway Web run. I think is the definitive run of Web of Spider-Man, and that's really unfair to Web of Spider-Man.
Call it that
because Web of Spider-Man was the first issue is iconic, one of the best opening issues of any comic ever made. Obviously the Kraven's Last Hunt issues are great, but that is the hopeless diamond of Spider-Man comics at the time, because and even like during the period where they were like making like there was the distinctive like feels of these books, they were good. It wasn't great. To me, it achieved greatness whenever it was profoundly interacting with Spectacular, because you had Conway doing it. Obviously, art-wise, you had Alex Savick, great artist, fantastic artist. And he really had that stamp on that book. Criminally underrated. I think he's, when he was doing the stuff on the newspaper strip, it was just great.
Blood Rose, baby. Blood Rose.
Blood Rose is stupid. It's really good. I love it. It's absurd.
It's stupid. Not stupid. Two hobgoblins fighting with Blood Rose and a rose. No, Zach, you are wrong, sir. You are wrong.
That's probably Mackie at his most fun, because it really is theater together.
Like, so ridiculous. I love it. I love it.
But Alex Savick. I mean, ASM 100. That for a costume that's only ever appeared one time.
It's iconic.
I am so ready for the Marvel Legend. Yes, and I haven't.
Is it coming out?
Yeah.
It's rumored. It has not been confirmed. I got a feeling, and we'll definitely be talking about this next episode. But they did announce Webman from Spidey Super Stories, and I have a problem. I pre-ordered him.
I want to get that. I do want to get that.
Like pretty much anything right now on the retro card I'm buying. Like Sarah's like, why don't you buy more MCU figures? And I said, there's a reason I don't buy any more MCU figures. Like, I will buy the Spider-Man ones, and that's it. And she's like, why?
I don't like the MCU figures, to be honest.
They're hit and miss, because some of them are really good. Some of them are really, really good. I think that Scarlet Witch is pretty good. The problem is a lot with the MCU figures, because they're doing concept art. Usually is what they're basing the figures off of, because they have to, it's so early in the production process. Have not decided making Richard Fisk and making Richard Fisk Alfredo. Yeah, the Name of the Rose was not bad, because that was written by Mackie.
We need more Rose. That's what it comes down to. We need the Blood Rose to return. We need the Blood Rose, Zach.
Wait, listen. I am all for them bringing back Richard Fisk. Okay.
No, you don't need to bring back the Rose.
Well, I mean, they did bring back the Rose in the '90s, and it was John Conover.
Or bring him back again.
I don't. That was such a weird twist. That didn't make no damn sense.
I'm just saying. We need more Rose in Spider-Man's life. If we can get what's his name? Oh my God, Crime Master come back. Why in the hell we can't get Big Man? We got Big Man. We got Crime Master. Where's the rose?
I am down for.
Rose?
I am down for somebody breaking out the mask and like Kingpin breaking out the mask and throwing it to some flunky and be like, "Hey, here's the rose." So, Paul, if you'd like that Spider-Man graphic novel hardcover, you need to say the magic word.
Oh, please, please. Can I see the storage facility, Dr. Venkman? If you're a GB fan, you gotta give me some props on that one, man. I'm a GB fan.
Listen, I loved that clip that they released today of like the mini Stay Puft Marshmallow Man was fantastic. I was like, dude, I am for it. I will go watch that in the theaters. I will support Sony's endeavor because they're finally. Are you kidding me? This is the apology for, and I didn't hate the 2016 Ghostbusters, but.
Man, my problem was off a tangent. We are really on a tangent.
Am I the one who thought that Ghostbuster trailer was, or that Ghostbusters clip was a little corporate in like how many products it shoved into the?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't fault it either. It's corporate.
It's a Sony film. Sony will do what Sony will do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, also.
I'm honestly surprised they had restraint to not put a Sony Vio on the screen.
Well, hey, sit up,
coming.
I can hardly see it.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're like sinking in your chair. He's about to fall asleep. All right, let me give the health update. So, all right, for those that don't know what's going on, so last Sunday, not this past Sunday, Easter Sunday, but Palm Sunday, I literally recorded the episode with Kelly for that week on Make Mine Mayday. I literally was watching Falcon and Winter Soldier, and so I gave an update. It's on the Facebook page, and let me pull up the post and I'll quote it. And I said, "Hello all. I almost didn't want to write this, but I feel like I promised you things." I said thinks, but it's meant to be things that these past couple of recordings I may not be able to deliver. So up front, I'm sorry. After I got done recording the latest Make Mine Mayday, I was enjoying the evening with soon to be Mrs. Spideydude, watching the latest Disney Plus Marvel series, Falcon and Winter Soldier. Upon finishing, we continued watching other films, but I started feeling pain in my chest. I was laying down, had shortness of breath. After calling family to get their input, I went to the ER. Things were borderline, but they were still very uneasy. So I had to get poked and prodded, and they checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was incredibly high, 174 over 132.
Yikes.
So how I didn't have a stroke, we still don't know. Been resting the past few days, but it's finally highly concerning moment. So my commitment to everybody is this. I'm going to try to get all the audio out this month, all the backlog of the audios of the shows, and we'll do our best to produce content until I get a grasp of the problem. I don't know how consistent we can be. So I feel it. So I've finally saw a cardiologist because it was going to be like tomorrow that I was going to see the cardiologist, or today, it may have been today. No, tomorrow was when I was scheduled to see the cardiologist originally. I called them. I was like, look, my lower number of my blood pressure hasn't gone down below 120. I need to see somebody like sooner. So luckily they had a cancellation. They got me in. They've got me on some blood pressure meds. I'm feeling better. Right now I'm fighting a cold. For those that are watching me on YouTube, and I was muted, and I'm hacking and coughing, trying to use the cough button to ensure that nobody hears that on the recording. But I am fighting that. I'm fighting that and allergies. So we've had a big cold front move through, and it's just been absolutely brutal. Pollen counts also made everything awful. So between seasonal allergies and my blood pressure, it's been pretty irritating. I go back in a couple of weeks, so by the time we do our next episode, I'll have gone back to the doctor. Hopefully they'll give me some more good news. And the next time we record also, this is a happy thing, I will be officially married to Sarah. So yeah, April 15th, we're going to do the small wedding. Then the big one that Neil's going to be at because he's being forced to be there. He got voluntold to be a.
I'm driving away as fast as I can.
Listen, if we can pull off the bachelor party, that's going to be the best bachelor party weekend ever. Just saying. So And if Paul, you'll appreciate it if it's going to involve a Cowboys game. So, even though you're a Seahawks fan, like,
Yeah, hey, I like Dak Prescott.
we almost hit your corner. You look. I was campaigning to trade Prescott to Seattle, and we'll take Russell.
To be fair, Prescott came in clutch after the snapping.
Oh no.
Zach knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, he really did. He did a lot of good things in Dallas area and Houston area.
I like Dak. I like Dak. I don't like.
He's a really look. My only issues with him are on the field at times and some of his decision making. But other than that, like person as a human being,
yeah,
class act, A+, the type of guy you want to lead a football team. So, but all that being said, I am feeling better. Obviously, I'm here. So barring anything unforeseen, I haven't had any. I've had a little bit of like chest pain on and off, but I haven't had it to the point where I needed to take nitroglycerin, because that was the point where I was 2 weeks ago. They gave me 2 deals of like 3 doses of nitro, and normally if you're not having heart problems, if you take nitroglycerin, it gives you these awful splitting, cut your skull in half headache, and it took my pain away. And so they're trying to avoid giving me a heart cath because I am 33 freaking years old. If I was 43, I could understand it because that's when my dad first had his problems. But I don't smoke, and I don't, other than occasional drink, I don't drink like a fish. And so, but my family history is the cornucopia of heart problems. So that is. But my commitment is this month we will be catching up audio-wise on this show. And by the time you listen to this, it may be completely irrelevant. But I'm feeling better. Thank you for the thoughts. Thank you for the good vibes. Thank you for the prayers that you guys sent our way, my way, Gabby's way. It's been a weird couple of weeks. I've had to be I have to be very careful how active I am because I start getting really lightheaded. So I have to kind of manage my own self and try not to do too much. But we'll get this whole thing figured out. I've had a lot of people reach out. So Matt says, congratulations, Zach, you're getting my hair back. No, I just decided to start growing it back. Sarah doesn't like it too much. Hi, Sarah. She's in the background. Oh, good God. I don't even want to know what a bachelor party with Neil would look like. No, honestly, that's going to
be epic.
I'm a civilized person. I just do this as a character bit.
Yeah, no, he's a good guy.
Is there another?
Neil's a great guy.
I did kind of announce it that we were next time I recorded I was going to be married. So
Sarah's in the background like, what is wrong with you?
Call me.
Well, we're doing the big wedding next year. It's April 15th of 2022 is our big wedding.
This is just going to the courthouse and getting.
Going to a church, yeah, and we've already went to the courthouse and got
Going to the chapel.
So no, the big wedding will be next year, where we get to have the big party. This one's just real small, real intimate one. So well, kind of small. I invited my entire church, which is half my family, and then it became much bigger than we were anticipating. So anyway, but no, we're really excited. I'm really excited about the future. We're about to start work. We've started work on on a few episodes have already been recorded, and we are working on ASM Classics. So I do want to make an announcement for I posted this on the Facebook chat. I'll announce the spec finale finale release at the end of the episode. So Monday, April 19th, that is when we're going to be releasing the new episode of Spectacular Radio. And I'm going to show everybody for the first time. I don't think anybody's seen.
Don't cry.
I'm not going to cry. It was a very emotional. It's a good episode. It's our longest episode. It's about 3 hours long. But we talk about the overall of the series. We talk about the hashtag campaign. You get to hear the rest of the guys kind of comment on it. There's a lot of tangents about AT&T or HBO Max. So,
Oh boy.
yeah, because it was right when the Snyder Cut came out when we recorded it. So you'll get to hear me talk about that a little bit. There's a lot of tangents that are there. I really enjoyed it. Oh goodness gracious!
I kind of want to do a Bogan Rider Variety Hour solely dedicated to the Snyder Cut.
We'll do it.
I know I just need people to talk about it with.
Listen, I
Neil!
will.
What the heck, dude? I don't know
People
what to
talk
talk
about
to
it.
people about. What I'm going to talk about it with, dude.
Fine, I just need more than one. I just need more than one person to bounce. Here, I will put it in the group chat. Who wants to do a Snyder Cut Bogan Rider Variety Hour?
Don't even talk to me. You're like, don't even invite me. I invite you on my show. Don't even invite
I just
me on
said
your
if you
show.
want to be in it, you can be in it. Yeah.
All right, so
I'm like a
gonna
vampire. You're gonna invite me in, man. You're gonna invite me.
So I'm going to debut the cover to the final episode of Spectacular Spider-Man. So let me share my screen right quick. There we go. So here it is, final curtain cover. I need to do.
Hey.
So that is the epic finale to the definitive series, Spectacular Radio, final curtain, episode 52. That is the final cover, and so it's very bittersweet. You get to have me, and this is the prologue wedding. Yes, that is my That's the yes. So that is the announcement. We definitely are excited about this. I've talked about how excited I was about finally getting this thing together, and Greg, finished editing it this last weekend, and so but we wanted to give a couple weeks to kind of promote it and talk about it. So yeah, Spectacular Radio, April 19th. I'm going to do it at noon or 1 p.m. Eastern is when it's going to drop. That is when it will come out. So I'm super, super excited. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to everybody listening to it, and looking forward to getting all the hate mail about the hashtag, because I know that's going to probably happen. So hopefully, I hope people like it. I had a good time recording it. Basically, the classic lineup of CSC. So me, myself, Greg, Gerard, Don, and Josh all get together, and we're talking about the series. And so it's a fun time. Definitely check it out. Worth your while. So check that out on Tuesday or Monday, April 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern. So
Hey, did you say next time you record? Gary? Next time you record Spidey.
So next time I record Spideydude, because our next episode on the channel
The next 2 episodes.
is going to be Make My Mayday episode. Next episode is Spider-Girl 22 through 27, 7 p.m. Eastern here on the channel. And then also,
Friday.
that's on this Friday. Then this upcoming Tuesday, we're recording the Dark Devil episode, where I get to go full on into the wackiness of Dark Devil's origin story.
Please pray.
Don't roll your eyes at me. Por favor. So, yeah, definitely check that out. So if you're a fan of my stuff with CSC, that's going to be probably the most CSC-like episode of Make My Mayday, because Dark Devil's story is wacky. It's just wacky. So, all right. Guys, I'm going to go around the horn. Comic Binge YouTube page. Be sure to check it out. This man.
Yeah.
Tell people where you can.
You
Tell
can find me
people
on. Oh, sorry. You can find me on YouTube, the Comic Binge podcast, the Comic Binge. You can find me on Twitter at Herman22 with 2 N's, aka P Thug. Thank you to everyone who's already followed me on the on the Comic Binge. I really do appreciate it again. And also make sure you follow this channel, because we're almost at 100 followers or subscribers. So then this guy can change the URL name. So
Yes, please.
go follow and not only that, hit the like button so we can get in that sweet, sweet, sweet algorithm.
Yes.
Get us in
Smash
there,
that
man.
like
Yeah.
Don't forget the notification bell. Like I have it scrolling across the screen for those that are audio listeners. I have it.
Yeah, and I hate begging for this stuff. By the way, I hate it.
Hit me. Reach me with that hand. Reach me with that. You cannot. Hi, I'm Neil.
Bogan Rider, Variety
Yes.
Hour, Saturdays on twitch.tv/quillsniv.
At 8 o'clock Central Time.
8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out the Bogan Rider Variety Hour on Saturdays.
Things happen there.
Yep.
You can see me on Twitter at Quillsniv. And then on YouTube, you've got YouTube, which is just Quillsniv. I'm retired Vice President Dick Cheney signing off.
All right, so that is Neil. All right, of course, me. That leads me to the finale.
It's dancing time.
It's time to dance, everybody. All right, I'm gonna blow myself up. All right, here we go. So, if you would like this episode, be sure to give us a review. Leave us 5 stars on your favorite podcasting app. Once again, big thank you to our Patreon subscribers, Vinkman and Scott. Thank you again. That's patreon.com/Spidey Network. Always go to also go to spidey-dude.com/events. Every time we're doing a live stream, it's going to be on the calendar. That's where you're going to be able to find it very easily, because sometimes the Facebook doesn't let me put these live streams up until like a week out. So also be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, the notification bell, so that way you get notified when we're going live. It usually will tell us about 30 minutes before. So let us know what you think. Again, you can always leave us a voicemail at the voicemail line, 818-925-6631, or an email at SpideyDudeRadioNetwork@gmail.com. Thanks again for watching. Those that are listening to us, thanks again for listening to the Spidey Dude Experience. We'll see you next time when we're covering the next issue 64 of Amazing Spider-Man, a.k.a. issue 865. Thanks again for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time here on the Spidey Dude Radio Network.